Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're taking the standard medieval battlefield of BattleLore version 1, and we're injecting it with some serious myth and magic by unpacking the advanced rules. If you've been playing the base game, and you are ready to drop legendary heroes, towering monsters, and just massive spells onto your table, you are absolutely in the right place. We're going to break these new systems down so you can confidently roll them out at your next session.
Real quick, here's our roadmap. We're hitting the magic of lore, assembling your war council, unleashing monstrous creatures, advanced combat tactics, and finally, the expanded turn sequence.
Starting off with Section 1, the magic of lore, and how it fuels the fantasy.
So lore is basically your literal in-game currency. It's the vital resource that takes your common troops and elevates them into legends, pulling off these incredible, wondrous feats. It's the bridge between the science of war and the sacred arts. Think of lore tokens as your magical bank account. And the best part? There's actually no cap on how much you can hoard. Well, except for how many cardboard tokens actually came in the box, right? But trust me, you are going to need a ton of it to cast spells and trigger those big special abilities.
Now, how do you actually get that currency? It's all about the dice. When you roll in combat, the symbols take on a whole new meaning. If you roll the specific lore symbol, that generates a lore token for you, whether you're the one attacking or you're the one battling back in melee. On the flip side, you have to remember that the standard sword and shield bonus strike symbol, under these advanced rules, that is generally considered a miss unless a specific card tells you otherwise. It's a bit of a mental shift from the base game, but it's absolutely crucial for building up your magical economy. Moving right along to Section 2, assembling your war council and mastering that magic.
All right, so your war council is where you actually assign levels to your different lore masters. That's your cleric, wizard, warrior, or rogue. You get a pool of exactly 6 levels to secretly distribute among them, but you can't push any single master past level 3. This setup phase is huge. Your choices here directly dictate your starting hand, your initial token reserve, and your maximum hand limit. Like if your highest level master is a level 3, your max hand size is 4 lore cards. It introduces this fantastic layer of hidden information and asymmetrical starts before anyone even rolls a die.
Once you have those cards, you really need to understand the distinction in how they're played. You've got your standard lore cards, which you play on your own turn during specific phases. But then you have reaction lore cards. You can easily spot these by their lighter background, and they are absolute game changers because you drop them during your opponent's turn to totally disrupt whatever they're planning. It means you're never just sitting there passively waiting for your turn, you're constantly an active, looming threat.
But hey, what happens if you draw a card for a class that you didn't even put on your council? Don't worry, the game gives you a really cool fallback. You can still cast those spells out of character. The catch is they are always cast at a basic level 1, and you have to pay a pretty hefty premium. 3 extra lore tokens on top of the base cost. So yeah, it's incredibly expensive, but sometimes paying that tax is exactly the tactical pivot you need to save a crumbling flank or just secure the win.
Okay, Section 3. Let's talk about unleashing monstrous creatures onto the board.
So a creature is a single figure that completely blocks line of sight. They basically act as a mobile, terrifying wall. Mechanically, though, they are totally unique. The game considers them a unit, but they are neither foot units nor mounted units. Why does that matter? Because any tactic cards you're holding that specifically target foot or mounted troops will completely ignore these beasts. You can't just casually sweep a giant creature into a mounted charge. They operate on their own distinct rule set.
And actually taking one down? That is no small feat. You can't just chip away at a dragon or a rock elemental with standard hits. These things are incredibly resilient. They are only eliminated when you roll a true critical hit that perfectly matches their specific banner color. If you roll a sword, they literally just shrug it off. Let me tell you, that is one of the most frustrating feelings in the world. You have to roll that specific banner color, which makes every single attack against a monster incredibly tense.
But if you take the risk, the reward is massive. If your troops actually manage to slay a beast, they earn an immediate, powerful boon. You drop a lore token right onto the hex where the creature just fell. The conquering unit can grab it and instantly spend it for a massive tactical advantage. You can either immediately move 1 additional hex or roll 1 extra die in a subsequent battle. It creates these super cinematic moments where your unit slays a literal dragon and uses that adrenaline rush to just surge straight into the enemy lines.
Let's dive into Section 4, Advanced Combat Tactics, and those gritty, ground-level engagements.
Now, this is a rule players get wrong all the time regarding battle-savvy units. Those elite troops that can basically generate magic. Yes, they brilliantly collect lore tokens. And yes, they can battle back in close-quarters melee. assuming they don't get wiped out or forced to retreat. But here is the massive caveat. They never, ever collect lore when firing ranged weapons. Lore is a currency that's forged in the absolute heat of hand-to-hand combat. You don't get it from sitting back safely and lobbing arrows across the field.
And speaking of the heat of combat, these advanced rules bring in what might be my favorite thematic mechanic, the cornered savvy. So normally, if a unit is forced to retreat, it can't battle back, right? But if your battle-savvy unit takes a hit and its retreat path is completely blocked off, it takes its required losses for not being able to fall back, but then, desperately fighting for survival, it can boldly battle back from its original hex. It's so cool. It can completely turn a terrible positioning mistake into a devastating, back-against-the-wall counterattack.
You also get to deploy musicians to alter the flow of the battlefield. First, you have bagpipes, which are amazing for crowd control. Turns out bagpipes blaring at you is terrifying in any century because they project fear. That means any standard hits or bonus strikes you roll are converted into retreat flags. Total chaos for the enemy. Alternatively, you have the bass drum, which provides support. This drum acts as an anchor, projecting a support presence to any friendly units in the same section without even needing line of sight. It's an auditory buff that just beautifully stabilizes your whole formation.
Finally, Section 5, the expanded turn sequence, where we look at your new tactical choices.
So instead of just drawing a standard command card and passing the turn, your end-of-turn phase now gives you a really deep strategic choice. After you draw your command card, you have to choose one of 3 distinct paths to build up your magical reserves. Do you want to dig for specific spells? Then draw 2 lore cards and keep 1. Do you want a balanced approach? Grab 1 card and 1 token. Or do you just need to stockpile raw magical currency? Then just scoop up 2 lore tokens. The choice you make right here at the end of your turn will absolutely dictate what you're capable of doing on your next one.
And there you have it. With all these advanced systems demystified, you have the tools to completely elevate your tabletop experience. You've got a handle on the magical economy, building your council, unleashing the creatures, and mastering those gritty tactical nuances. So the final question I'll leave you with is this. With the mythical realm now literally at your fingertips, will you rely on the cold, reliable strike of the sword, or will you master the unpredictable power of the lore to conquer your next session?